Hello, and thank you for joining me on this session of Paraliminal coaching. It's so much fun for me to be able to share the deep background that each paraliminal contains. The term that's the basis of today's session is called self-actualization. Now, if you're familiar with a psychologist named Abraham Maslow, he talked about what's called a hierarchy of needs, that as we grow and as we evolve and as we get things taken care of, as we manage the basics, what happens is we move up this pyramid toward what he referred to as self-actualization. The first level we talk about is physiological needs, that you have basic food and water and shelter. Then we get to safety needs. Then we get to the idea of love and belonging, that we're in a community that cares for us and supports us. Then we move into what we call self-esteem, the love of yourself. And that, if you move through those four levels, then you get to what he referred to as the peak, called self-actualization. Now, all of us are currently here on this session because we've moved through the levels and we've accomplished what we call a self-authoring mind. Not only have we recognized that we're not victims of the world we see, but we really have the ability to shape our lives as we would choose to have them shaped, as we would choose to live into it. We can create the life that we choose to live. That's called the self-authoring mind. It's a developmental level in the field of psychology. Abraham Maslow took this slightly different track and talked about self-actualization, but here's the interesting thing about it. Many people don't know. While he did his work in the 50s and 60s, the concept of self-actualization was a point that he was making, but it wasn't the end point that he felt human beings aspire to. In my research, I recognize that what we aspire to is beyond the self-authoring mind into what's called the self-transforming mind. And in essence, this is exactly what Abraham Maslow was starting to write about just at the end of his life. And he did die, many people would say, a bit prematurely of a heart attack. But the idea is that what we're all trying to do is beyond self-actualizing, we're here as self-transcending. In other words, that we move beyond our own issues and we step into a greater contribution of our lives to the betterment of humanity. It's a powerful idea. The true unique gifts and talents that each of us bring into this world are here for the purpose of a contribution we intend to make in our lifetime. And that is what he was referring to as transcending the egoic self altogether and becoming part of a greater whole, of an evolutionary impulse that we're here to fulfill in our lifetime. So the idea behind the self-actualization's paraliminal is to really step into not only that recognition that you are a self-actualizing human being, but you're also here for a more transcendent purpose. So the design of this paraliminal is based on powerful research that went on for decades and decades around the idea of this hierarchy of needs. And so what I've done is I've built this paraliminal with the intention of helping you not only recognize what you're already doing, but really welcome that greater expression of it in favor of being the self-actualizing person you have always meant to be, and to live a self-transcendent, or in my vernacular, a self-transforming mind, live that transcendent state that is available to you. Now, in many of my paraliminals, I do something interesting. Not only do I have two voices, the left and right hemispheres, that speak to the unique way in which language is processed in each side of the brain, but I'm also presenting a third track. Oftentimes, it's in the middle between the two voices that have separated. And on this paraliminal, and you'll hear it a little bit quiet in the background, but in the middle of the head, kind of gently moving slightly from side to side. I say about 5 degrees, either side of left and right of center. And I would like to read these affirmations to you so that you can really get how they're leading you up this ladder to this self-transcendent state. I maintain a fresh appreciation for the basic good of life with awe, pleasure, and wonder. Self-actualizing people have an ongoing sense of awe. They don't feel like they've got it all figured out. They feel like they're very present to this amazing universe that they live in. I accept myself, including all of my unique characteristics, with unconditional positive self-regard. Now, this idea is really at the essence of self-esteem, unconditional positive self-regard. Next, I ride life's ups and downs with an increasing sense of composure, grace, acceptance, and emotional stability. You imagine yourself on a lake or on the ocean in a boat, and things are fairly calm. A wind blows up, the waves come up, we recognize it, recognize that we're safe, we ride those waves, and things settle down again. This idea that there is a lot of chaos, turbulence in the world, it's natural. Change is the one thing that never changes. We're in a situation where there's a lot of whitewater going on the river of life, and we can ride them. We can ride those changes as vicissitudes of life. Next, I accept responsibility to accomplish my intentions, and I find the greater expression of my full potential in life. So this idea that if I set a goal, if I set an intention, I recognize that I'm the one who's responsible to doing something about it. Whatever happens, people distracting me or other priorities coming in, I don't blame them. They're just doing their lives the way they need to. They're just asking me for what I need. That's their job to do it. It's me that needs to take responsibility for what I'm choosing to accomplish. Next is I seek the truth about life, nature, and people with an increasingly efficient perception of what is. You may have heard the idea of the serenity prayer, where I have the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Right? So I recognize that some things are within my control to change and some things are not. So I have increasingly efficient perception of what's mine to do, what is going on in the world, what's mine to do, and I can stay focused on that. Another one, I often have experiences in which I feel new possibilities are opening up for me and others. To be able to see possibility is super important. That is a mindset that sees the big pictures, looking for possibility. When somebody refers to a possibility mindset, it means that if we haven't been able to do it up until now, it doesn't matter. There's got to be a way to do it. And it's only then, through a possibility mindset, that opportunities are made available to us. Nextly, I have a genuine desire to make the world a better place for all life. And when you think about that, something as simple perhaps as recycling or reusing, planting a tree, contributing service on a volunteer basis, whatever it might be, or having a legacy in mind that you're doing some great work for humanity, and you're going to, if not finish it, you're going to at least get it started so that 7 generations hence are going to be able to benefit from what it is that you do. Next, I have good intuition that lets me know deep down what is the right thing to do. And there is this sense of knowing when my desiring, wanting mind is trying to get me to do something versus this clearer voice that's perhaps referred to as the still small voice within. It's where intuition occurs to us. And it might be a feeling, it might be an image, it might be a voice, but we need to be able to still our minds to be able to perceive those signals. Next, I channel my energy to be fully aligned with my intention, and clear courses of action open up to me. And that's really it. I can't tell you how many times I set a goal not knowing how it would be possible to accomplish it. Doesn't matter. Paraliminal technology, which we're talking about right now, the idea came to me in 1976. I developed the first protocols in 1981, and the first commercially available paraliminal was 1988. That's a 12-year span, knowing that this was possible. But the thing is, it was only possible with digital editing, and digital editing did not exist when I received that idea. Curious, isn't it? In fact, in 1987, when I tried to do one on a reel-to-reel tape deck in a studio, I said to a colleague of mine who was an audio engineer formerly with Paisley Park here in Chanhassen, Prince's studio, the rock star Prince. And he had produced something for a friend of mine in accelerated learning. I said to him, you know what I want to be able to do is take like word processing, 2 paragraphs and link them together like that. He said, Paul, there's only one person in the world who can do that. I'm the beta test site for the world's first digital editing software. So, what kind of possibility is that? My intention and a clear course of action showed up because I continued to lean into it. And this is the nature of this self-transforming mind, or this self-transcending state. When you're fully actualized, there's a way. You don't know how it's going to happen. You just know. Yeah, there's a relentless knowing that it is going to happen. 2 more. I have a creative spirit that expresses through me in everything I do. And the more we align with that creative spirit, that part of us that physiologically is in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, the resources of the non-conscious and the right hemisphere meet up with that possibility that sees the big picture. And that's how we're able to accomplish creative breakthrough. It's because we're lighting up these higher brain functions. And finally, I choose the course of action that leads to the expression of my highest good and highest potential. In other words, we don't sell ourselves short. We don't play small. This is a time in human history where we need to show up We need to show up big. And so I know that the self-actualized human being that's within you is looking to be that self-transcendent self, is looking for that further expression. It's why we're here together, is to keep exploring. And in that exploring, finding new and creative ways to get where it is you recognize you're going. So keep setting those intentions and keep staying open to possibility. The opportunities will find their way to you. Another way I think about that is, in our minds, we establish the end result, the effect that we're going for, and the universe and our non-conscious mind produces the causes for it to occur. The conscious mind, it thinks in linear ways and cause-effect ways, Newtonian physics. But in truth, the mind is a quantum processor. And quantum physics says the effect has to precede the cause. And that's what we do in consciousness. Well, been absolutely fabulous being with you. I'm so glad I was able to share all this. It's a lot. This is one of the biggest sessions we've done, but I really enjoyed it. So glad to share with you this fabulous new Paraliminal. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful day.